Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video, which is probably going to be a bit of a random one because I just sort of thought to myself earlier this would actually be quite a good video to make. So I want to talk about car journeys with newborn babies because they can be pretty tough. I think when they're really newborn it's not too bad because they can sleep most of the time, but kind of as they wake up a bit more to the world it can be really difficult and they can be really upset. Obviously some babies do better than others, but you know, they might have bad days, good days, it does vary. But yeah, I just want to chat about it and something that I found helpful, which has really helped us. I think it really saved us yesterday, actually, a few things that I did. So I wanted just to share it with you and just let you know and to see if it might help you sometimes. And also just to kind of reassure you, like, don't feel the pressure to go out and do too much, especially if car journeys are difficult for you. I mean, especially for me, so I have a son who has just turned 4, and you know, before she was born we were doing lots of things, going out loads, going to different groups and stuff, and obviously naturally we're doing a bit less at the moment anyway, plus it's winter, and the weather's awful. But yeah, I think it's that pressure not just to go out, but it's when it's worse when we have somewhere to be at a definite time. So if it is a stay and play thing and we have to be there at 11 or 12 or whatever time, it's that sort of rush. I don't think it's as bad if we're just going out and we can just take our time and I can wait for the baby to just wake up when she wants to wake up or whatever, we can leave when we want. But when we have to leave by a certain time it can be a bit stressful. So I just want to say to you, if you need someone to say it, then I'll be the one to say it, just to like not feel pressured. You know, don't worry too much if you're not doing all these different play groups for your other child or children, or if you're not doing all the baby classes. You know, you can just wait. Car journeys might get a little bit easier as they're a bit older. They might not. Some children just never like them and some babies don't. But obviously as they get older you can do more things to sort of distract them and help them. But at this age it's quite difficult. Obviously some babies find it harder. They say if your baby's got a tongue tie or if they've got some sort of tension in their body, reflux, then car journeys are hard for them. So yeah, I sort of just wanted to sort of say don't feel too pressured to like go out and do loads of different things. You know, and if you can do some things walking, maybe that's easier, you know, like in the sling or carrier. Maybe you can walk to a park, walk to the library, something like that, and just sort of save yourself really, because it is really stressful. Also, if you have someone to go in the car with you, that's great. So that's kind of what I want to talk about, and my tips are really about having someone with you in the car. So what worked for us yesterday was when we all went out as a family. So my husband was driving and I was in the back between the two children. I haven't actually announced what her name is yet, so she's called Evie, by the way, if you're a regular viewer, and if you're watching this far. Yeah, she's called Evie. So that's who I'm referring to. And yeah, I've got a son, if you're new, I've got a son, Arthur, who has not long turned 4, and Evie is currently 11 weeks old. So yesterday we had a car journey of about an hour, and that's the longest that we've gone, it's the furthest that we've gone. Now I'm not saying this is going to work every time, because there was one day last week was absolutely horrendous. I went out twice, which was obviously a bit of a mistake. So I had the dentist, which I had to go to in the morning, and then I'd booked like a plaything for Arthur in the afternoon, and it probably was a bit of a mistake to do both, but I was trying to do something for him, and that's what I mean by like wanted to do stuff. I obviously didn't want to cancel, but she hardly had any sleep at all, and over the whole day she had about three naps, which were about 10 or 15 minutes each. Really poor sleep that day, and she was really upset, screaming. I've never seen her that upset. Obviously I stopped the car a couple of times, but nothing sort of worked really. It was just absolutely horrendous, and my mum was there as well. And my mum was, I was getting a bit upset, and my mum was as well, because it's horrible, isn't it, when they're that upset. It's that like crying, you know, when they're like kind of holding their breath a bit. I've never really had that with her before, and I don't know if it was just because she was so tired. But anyway, so yeah, these tips aren't necessarily going to work for those days, but you know when they're kind of like on the edge and they can just about be saved by doing these things. So hopefully on some journeys this will help you if you've got someone in the back, or you can be in the back with them. So what I found with her is doing things with her, holding things she can see, holding things she can hear, that sort of thing. So the first thing that I used was a car mirror. So you can use a car mirror if you've got one, or you know, something reflective, or if you've got like a play mirror or a toy with a mirror. They really like that, especially at this age. So I was using that. I was just holding it in front of her and just moving it around. Obviously it reflects the light coming in through the windows, she can see herself in it. I was like going down as well. She really liked that. And with all these things, by the way, just keep chopping and changing. Like as soon as she got bored of one thing, I would like move on to the next. Also like talking to them, making noises, singing. You can do all sorts of different things. You know, maybe shushing them sometimes might help, or singing might help, or just like talking in that sort of high-pitched voice that we do when we're talking to babies. Also, if you've got anything like black and white, they really love that anyway at this stage. I've done a video about newborn activities, so if you've got something, take them in the car. I didn't have that yesterday, but what I did have at the very end, where everything else was sort of not working anymore, I had a colouring book in the car, which was Arthur's, and it was like quite a simple one where it was like a lot of white with really like big black outlines, and just was showing her that. It was getting a bit dark in the car as well, so this was quite like nice and bright and white to show her. And I was also sort of flicking, like thumbing through it, so she could like feel the slight breeze, if you like, from the pages turning, and I found that was really good. Another thing that she could hear, that I was rustling some bags, like a sandwich bag. Yeah, I was rustling a sandwich bag in front of her, and also some paper, just like making different noises, so that distracted her for a minute or two. And like I said, I was chopping and changing between all of these. And something which this, I probably should make like a video, a reel or something about this. This is like the ultimate hack, is a water bottle. So we've got them, I'll try and like put a picture. They're by the make, I think it's like Systema, I'm not sure how you say it. But they're like coloured bottles basically. I remember Arthur loving these even when he was like 6 months, 8 months in the car. Obviously you hear about sensory bottles, so if you've got some of those, great, but this just does exactly the same job really. So it's a water bottle, which I had with me anyway, filled with water, although I was drinking it and I was thinking, oh, I better not drink too much because I need to save it, because she was enjoying it. And yeah, I was just holding it in front of her and just tipping it upside down, moving it around, doing, you know, holding it from side to side. And obviously the water in it makes a noise as well, and she can see it. If the lights or sunlight is coming through, it looks good, because like I say, I had a blue one, but you can get green, pink, purple, and yeah, it's just colourful, and you can see the water moving and the sound of it, and it really did distract her. She really enjoyed that. So I'm definitely going to make sure I always have that bottle with me, because we've got like a couple of other ones which aren't see-through. So that's a really good one. So get yourself a water bottle if you don't have one. So that was really good. So another thing which I think I will probably maybe keep in the car are her black and white cards, which we got with her playmat. Just keeping a few things, you know, if you've got like books in the car, it's definitely worth just having a little supply of things. I mean, but like I said, these are all just things that I had to hand. So like packets of stuff, paper, like I said, a drawing book for Arthur, the car mirror, which we had in the car anyway. I just like brought it close to her, which she absolutely loved, and a water bottle. It sounds really simple, but honestly I definitely think we would have had to stop loads if it wasn't for those things. So basically on the way there we stopped once, and then once we started going again, I thought, right, what can I do to like entertain her or distract her? And then I sort of started using all these different things, and then on the whole way home we didn't need to stop. It was amazing. Obviously when your newborn is very newborn, they recommend you should stop anyway and get them out of the car seat. They recommend getting them out of the car seat anyway after, I'm not sure how long, I don't want to say in case I get it wrong, but I'll try and leave it below, or you know, obviously look it up. But yeah, obviously you've got to stop sometimes anyway. But yeah, honestly we wouldn't have been able to do the car journey as much as we did yesterday without these things, because I could tell like as soon as I would stop doing something, she would like nearly cry, or she sort of did like little cries, you know, the little cries that they do. I just about managed to like bring her back. Yeah, she was sort of on the brink of crying. So she did really well. I don't think it was just a fluke. Like I say, there are times, like the really bad car journey I had the other day, I don't think any of that would have helped, because she was already upset right at the beginning. But if they're sort of nearly crying, you just might be able to stop it, or just even make it last a bit longer, because you know what it's like when you're going somewhere, you have to be there at a certain time, like I say, and it's like you could really do without stopping. Or like maybe you're nearly home and you're just like, oh, I just need like 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes for you to be happy, because I really hate it. But you know, there are times when you can just tell, or it's been long enough and you're like, you're not going to sleep, and you can't just leave them crying, because it's horrible. And also, you know, if they're not going to go to sleep, they're just going to get more and more upset. There's no point just carrying on driving. But obviously sometimes it might not be safe to stop, of course, straight away. But yeah, so hopefully using those things, I'm always going to make sure that I've got those things with me, and if I'm driving and my mum's in the back, I'm going to tell her to do these sorts of things. I mean, she like talks to Evie anyway, and she was rustling something the other day actually, which helped a little bit. But yeah, now we know she likes those things. I think so now she's 11 weeks, she can probably see a bit better as well. So yeah, so I know it's tough, so I just want you to know you are not alone. Like I said, some babies don't seem to mind, or some babies will just like go to sleep. As soon as they're in the car, they'll fall asleep. Whereas, I mean, she has slept in the car, but sometimes she won't, even though I know she's tired and she could do with the sleep, but she's just not going to sleep. So yeah, you're not on your own if that sounds like you and your baby. And like I say, some days are better than others, some car journeys are better than others for whatever reason. It could be that they're overtired, that, you know, maybe they're too hot, too cold, so make sure the temperature is right for them. They do say not to wear a hat in the car, and also they should never wear anything like too thick and padded, because basically the seatbelt won't be able to hold them and do its job properly. So make sure they can't wear anything like that, you know, like what are they called, a pram suit. They can't wear those in car seats. But make sure the temperature is right, make sure they've had a feed, all of that. Make sure they've been winded and burped, because wind can make them really upset. So you can do all of that and still, you know, they're just not in the mood for it. But hopefully those few little things that you can show them, so like I said, something reflective, something black and white, something white, things you can rustle, make noises, use your voice as well. I also like I said, I flipped the pages as well, so she could feel a little like breeze on her face. And also she's got a hood on her car seat, so she had it on, so, and then at some point I took it back, so it was getting a bit darker anyway. But even that, just like changing light is something different, another little distraction. And yeah, hopefully you may find those things help. I also put a hand on her like chest or tummy sometimes for a bit of reassurance. And yeah, so yesterday was good, so hopefully on some car journeys those things are going to help us in the future. Oh yes, and the bottle, I think that's probably the best one. Love that. I also forgot to mention another thing that you could put in the car is like a colour changing light. So we've got a night light that changes colour. It's quite gentle, quite slow. I did also buy like a disco light as well, so something like that. Obviously not to be used at night time because it will distract the driver, but in daylight they won't notice it, especially if it's like quite a gentle one. But your baby will be able to see that, and the different change in colour. Obviously when they're newborn they do only see black and white, but the colour does come and they can still see, you know, so it will still look good. But obviously as they're getting a bit older, they will be able to notice the colour changing. But she is really enjoying the colour changing light at the moment, so I think if we had that in the car as well, like if you know it's going to be a journey or you're worried about it, if you had something like that with you, and obviously you've got someone there next to the baby to show it to them, then I think that'll be really good as well. I do think, like, if it's just you by yourself, whether there is anything you could put by their feet, but obviously it would have to be something soft, something that, you know, obviously if you did have to stop suddenly or worse in the car, you don't want anything that's gonna fall on their face, cover their face, injure them, hurt them. So I don't know if there is something out there. Obviously you can put mirrors on the headrest anyway, so whether you could sort of angle that, but I don't think they'd be able to see that anyway. And obviously, by the way, I'm not advising like a full-on mirror, just something that's reflective, not an actual glass mirror. obviously. I hope that'd be obvious. But yeah, whether that you can get like soft toys with reflective things on, so whether you could put something by their feet that they can just see. Obviously it has to be close enough for them to see, but you can get toys that you can put on, you know, the pram like handlebars, bars. So whether there is something for the car as well, I don't want to like necessarily advise anything, because of course safety has to take priority here in a car, especially, you know, because you're by yourself. You can sort of see them in the mirror, but you're not there, are you? You might be able to stop if something like falls on them or something moves. Like even with a blanket, they can like kick that, can't they? And it might fall off, but it could equally like come up to their face. So just make sure if you're thinking about putting something in front of them, that it absolutely has to be safe, and you have to know it's not something that they can like move to cover their face, or yeah, if something happens to the car and you've got to stop, that is going to be dangerous for them. But there might be something, so yeah, let me know if there is something that you know of that you could sort of entertain the baby with without you having to be next to them. And yeah, and obviously as they get older, they can have toys and they can start to hold things and grasp them themselves, but you know, until that point it's sort of down to you. And yeah, just take it easy. Don't worry too much about going out. Don't give yourself the stress of having to be somewhere at a certain time too much in the week, not too many days, and also not too many things in one day. I think that's probably overstimulates them anyway, potentially. But yeah, like car journeys, you don't want too many in one day. They're tough, aren't they? So yeah, so I hope this video finds you well. Good luck for future car journeys. Let me know if any of these tips do help, if you try them out, or if you found something which helps. Please leave them in the comments below, because I'm sure we all need them, and we need all the tips for these journeys with our babies, don't we? And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helps you, and I'll see you really soon. Bye everyone.